In 3, 2, 1.
John, are we live?
We're live, sir.
What's going on, buddy?
Not too much, my man. How are you today?
I'm good. I missed you last week.
Aw, shucks.
I know. Did you miss me while you were in Punta Cana?
I would love to say that I did, but, I thought of you because I know that you had been there, and we talked a little bit about what you had said about the good time you had had. So you were in conversation. Missing you might be going a little too far, but
Shucks.
I did think and speak highly of you.
Well, I missed you in Las Vegas, buddy.
Yeah?
No,
How
look
the
at
tables treat you?
Like crap.
Oh, no.
It was tough because I was there I got in on Friday and my dad was at a medical conference. So his conference ended Wednesday morning.
Okay.
So it's difficult in Las Vegas to have a good run of gambling for 5 days straight.
Oh, hell yeah.
So day 1 was okay. Day 2 was good. And then 3, 4, 5 just
Ooh.
went completely the other way.
Yeah.
So
All right.
that was tough. And the weather was rough. It was like 65 and cloudy the whole time. So you couldn't really go to a pool.
Yeah,
Couldn't do very much.
that's not Vegas
The whole,
weather.
The whole U.S. has kind of had funky weather.
Wonky. Yeah, for sure. Even here, it's just been up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
Anywho, out there, it averaged 85. There was a cloud. I saw a cloud go by. But other than that, man, it was good.
Well,
yeah.
they have pretty much the same weather all year round and then a little bit of a rainy season, I think.
Yeah.
But
yeah, which
temperatures are kind of the same.
We were at the tail end of the rainy season, so we got some good stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
Fun
Any
stuff.
shout-outs before we get started? Because I think today's show is going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to go
well, actually,
over.
Shout-outs will go along with what we were just talking about. There have been, as everybody knows, storms and tornadoes, and my shout-out goes to the first responders because there are men and women who are risking their lives every day trying to help people in bad situations, and they don't get the praise, I think, that they should. And I just want to shout out to, and neighbors. There's neighbors helping neighbors and doing what they can, and good stuff deserves a shout out. So
Awesome.
That's it for my day.
Well, I got one, and it's, Lawrence and I are doing a triathlon next weekend in Alcatraz.
Is that next weekend?
Yeah, I'm scared half to effing death. It's
All right.
I'm doing a triathlon, and we got to swim from Alcatraz to shore, and it's 1.5 miles in the ocean. I'm not a very good swimmer. I have these little T-Rex arms that don't swim well. But the group that we're doing it for is an autism research group, and I've just kind of been following what they're doing. They've been doing amazing work, and a big shout out to everybody who's been supportive, and they donated. And Lawrence and I actually ended up being the two largest or the largest group of donations. So the two of us raised the most money.
No kidding.
So yeah. So we won, got some VIP tickets to dinner that we're going to pass to the second highest person because we already have dinner plans that night.
Oh,
but
very good.
Yeah, thank you to everybody who was kind enough to donate. I'll do my best not to drown on your behalf.
Yeah. And
But,
on that note, I might be looking for a new partner and
Yeah.
host and co-producer in the weeks to come. No, I think what you're doing.
I've been swimming my butt off, so I think I'll make it. Depends on how choppy it is that day. But I have a 1.2 mile swim in Lake Zurich this weekend, actually on Sunday, to kind of tune myself up for it. So
I think what you and Lawrence are doing is fantastic. I tell you what, when you talked about the weight loss challenge, I was all in. You talked about this, I was like, nope,
Yeah.
that's just not me, man. But good for you. I think it's great.
yeah, so I'm excited, and thank you again to everybody who donated. Some people donated way more than I ever expected them to, and we appreciate it. And we got some really nice notes from the company and the charity just thanking us for raising as much money as we
Really?
did. So
Nice.
I want to forward that thank you to everybody
Very
who
good.
actually donated.
Very good. Love it.
Well, I'm excited to jump into our first guest. Kathy Ragnar is the executive director for now 13 years, correct? For 13 years of Sarah's Circle, which is a local Chicago charity. I'm going to let Kathy explain what Sarah's Circle is because I don't want to mess this up. It's incredibly important, and what you guys do is incredible.
Well, thank you. Sarah's Circle is the anchor agency in the city of Chicago providing services and ending homelessness for women who are homeless or at risk of homelessness. We run a full continuum of services, including the city's only daytime program that's open to any woman in the city, and we have women from every zip code in the city. We run the city's largest interim housing program for women, a 50-bed program. We have our own permanent housing for women that have a history of chronic homelessness and a disability, and we are developing housing. And through all of our programs, we serve about 800 women every year, and we look to end homelessness for over 100 women every year.
Wow, good for you guys. And you guys are breaking ground on a new building, correct?
It is. That is. Thank you. It is
This summer.
yes, it is so exciting. We are looking at about mid-June to start construction on a 6-story building on the corner of Leland and Sheridan in the Uptown neighborhood.
Wonderful. Okay.
So that's going to have 38 apartments for women that have a history of homelessness, and those are permanent studios. And it's going to have brand new space for the 50-bed program, because currently we lease space for the 50-bed program, so we're going to move it into our new building.
Wonderful.
And we are thrilled. We've gotten TIF funding. We had an unprecedented $14 million donation from a national foundation to help us build this building. So we're all set with the money, and we're working with Perkins and Will again. They were our architects for our first building. Mayor Brown is our legal team, and then Skender are our contractors. So we got a great team.
I was going to say, you have quite the robust, strong team of
a wonderful
folks.
team with us, yeah.
Well, that's wonderful to hear, and what an awesome step forward for you guys. How did you get involved with them?
Well, this is, I was telling John a little bit when I got here, this is a different career for me. I started out in banking. I started out with the Northern Trust.
Okay.
And I was in commercial banking, and then after my 3rd child, I was home for several years, and then I got involved with a nonprofit child welfare agency that was struggling. And I joined as a volunteer. We helped with their finances, get it in good shape. During that period, the executive director had resigned. We did hire a new executive director, but she only stayed for actually a few weeks.
Oh, wow.
And then,
Short-lived.
so I took the job and was there for about 6 years. And then I left and was home for about a year. And then Sarah Circle had gone through a failed merger, and they were looking for a new executive director. So I joined as the executive director in 2006.
Wonderful. So long time since you joined them. And just looking at what you guys have been doing, you guys have advanced so much in 13 years. There's specific issues that affect, I suppose, and correct me if I'm wrong, I could be completely wrong, so step in and tell me, Mo, you don't know what you're talking about, that affect homeless women more so than men. What are some of those things that really kind of set that apart for women who are struggling with homelessness?
And I have, when I say I have learned so much in the last 13 years about the complexity of women's homelessness, and that it's true. So many women, at least 1 in 5, are directly homeless because of violence from men. And it's usually a domestic violence situation at their home. But saying that, over 50% report violence, and it's typically from men. And women need different programming in terms of healing and supportive services that allows them to move on and regain housing stability. And a woman who is homeless is far more susceptible to violence on the street than her male counterpart.
Of course. And you guys both do temporary and permanent housing, correct?
We do.
Okay.
So we have the drop-in center, and then the interim housing program, that's designed for a woman to come in. She has her own bed, her own storage area, and very comprehensive services, and our goal is to get her into permanent housing within about 120 days.
Wow, that's very fast.
So the staff do a good job, assess why she's homeless and where we can help get her into a more permanent situation. And then we do have our own housing because there is a dire lack of affordable housing in the city, and it keeps dwindling.
Getting worse and worse.
It is getting worse. So we have our own housing, and the housing that we have is for women that have had a history of chronic homelessness, which includes a disability. And then we are, as I say, we're developing more housing.
Well, that's wonderful for you guys. And I had read some of the things you guys had written, and you said, some of the challenges are dealing with Chicago's zoning and dealing with, just kind of the landscape of trying to get affordable housing and housing into different areas of Chicago. Have you guys found, obviously, with the great team you're working with, you've been able to get through those struggles?
Yes. going through the city's processes for permitting and zoning and then pulling the capital together to build housing is a very arduous process. I
Yes.
mean, the building that we're in now, we made a decision as a board in 2008, we're going to develop a property, and then the wheels fell off with the economy, but we kind of kept at it, and we have 8 layers of financing for the building that we're in now, and putting that all together has a lot of challenges. But the building we're in, that we're developing now, it just has 2 layers, the TIF and then the donation, but it's still trying to pull the money together and then secure the property, then while you go through the permitting and the zoning, it's an incredibly difficult process.
I'm unfortunately all too familiar with it.
Oh, I bet, because you're in real estate.
Real estate and real estate law.
And you know, it'll be interesting to see, because the new mayor's one of her first actions of eliminating aldermanic privilege. This should be interesting to see how this changes the whole process.
She said it during one of her first speeches.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big speaking point for her.
I think that will have a huge impact. Now, I have to say, we have been incredibly fortunate because we've had a very good relationship with our alderman. We're in the 46th Ward, that's James Kappelman, and he has gone to bat for us. He helped us secure the TIF money, helped us navigate those nuances with the neighbors. But a lot of agencies don't have that, and it really then restricts where you go for trying to put a new program in or to get housing. So I think this will be very interesting to see how this plays out with what the mayor's done.
Absolutely. I'm sure your background in banking really helps as well.
It did. I mean, yes, I have a background in finance, so that really helped pull the different layers of financing together for the first one and to get the second one. And then the board, we had our board strategic planning last night, and we're looking for our third building.
Oh, wonderful.
And the third building is going to be about 25 units, and we're going to focus on women with a history of domestic violence.
Okay.
Because that is such a huge need for the city.
Specific area you're looking for, or is it more still
Well,
close to uptown?
Probably we want to stay in the north side.
Okay.
Because it's easier to manage properties and programs when you stay pretty close by, because we've had some housing way down the south side or west side, and it's just sending the case managers back and forth. It's not very efficient.
Okay. And how can somebody like myself, John, or somebody listening get involved? I know there's different ways to donate.
Many ways to get involved. One, just visit our website. We have just money's always good. So I'm sure everyone says money's always good. Yeah. And that's right on the website. And the development team has that donate now, like on every single page. But then we have a thriving young associates board, which is a very energetic group of young professionals that raise money and do some advocacy work for us. We have an impact board, and that's a group of more seasoned professionals that work on raising the issue of women's homelessness and also doing events for us. That we have different committees that, like a finance committee, events committee, that work on the governance and of the agency, and then come to our events. Awesome. We have a walk every year. This will be, I think, our 29th year. It's about 300 people, about 350 people come, and we raise about $150,000.
Wow.
It's at Truman College, and they do that peer-to-peer fundraising, and it's just taken off. And then the Beer Fest.
Awesome. So when's the walk and when's the Beer Fest?
The Beer Fest is going to be October. I think it's the third Friday in October. It's on our website.
Strategically placed where a lot of people drink beer.
Yeah, a real fall thing. And then the walk is the first Sunday in February that's not Super Bowl Sunday.
Okay.
At Truman College.
Smart too.
Yeah.
Very smart. Awesome. John, we're going to have to kind of keep on top of that. John likes to drink beer, and we both like to walk. God.
Yeah, like you don't.
Yeah, we both do. But
and then the walk
incredible.
is a stroll. Yeah, it's a walk around uptown, and then I love this event because we have about 50 or 60 of the women that we serve join us for the walk, and you take about a mile walk, and then you stop about 3 or 4 times along the way, and you hear a woman's story. So, and it's meant for everybody, families, donors, the women. We have politicians that walk with us, neighbors. And so by the end of the walk, you kind of hear, why is a woman using Sarah Circle?
Yeah. And I'm we talked before the show is 18 to, you said you had somebody who was 92 recently.
Last year we had somebody 92.
Any age. And do you find that a lot of the women who've gone through the program and been helped by it come back to help the program out?
That's a good question. Some, yes.
Okay.
Some women they've come to Sarah's Circle, and they might have had a history of abuse and neglect, and they're finding an incredible amount of support and encouragement, and this is their home, and they want to stay connected and help. For many women, though, this is the very low point in their life, and so it depends. For some women, they don't want to remember Sarah's Circle. That we were there, maybe they were in our interim housing program, maybe they came to the drop-in program, the daytime program, but once they move on, they've moved on.
Right.
So it's the whole spectrum.
Okay. John had a question for me. He just wrote me a note. He said, what's the web address? Now, I'm putting you on the spot in
thank
case you don't know.
No, I do. www.sarahs-circle.org.
Very good.
And that's our website, and it's got the beer fest, the walk, all the different ways you can help. We do a lot of. We have about 200 volunteers every year, a lot of drives. So we really encourage and we thrive on the community support.
Wonderful. And what a great cause to get behind. Homelessness in Chicago, it almost seems silly to me that it's still even, homelessness in general seems silly to me that it even exists still. It shouldn't. People should be doing more to help it. Anything you would hope to see done with homelessness in Chicago in general? I'm sure there's a lot you want to see done, but it's a cause that I know there's a lot of different organizations that are getting behind it, trying to move it towards a better place. But, I've been a Chicago resident or a business owner for now, 12, 13 years. And I hope to see the day when it goes away completely.
Well,
it's closer to it.
I think we have a ways to go, and there are communities that have ended homelessness. Finland is the first one that's saying, okay, we can do this. And they've built housing. They built affordable housing. And in the city, and I think in general, there's a few things. One, education and understanding the complexity of homelessness, and that for people don't, say at age 50, choose to be homeless.
Right.
So really kind of understanding the complexity of it and knowing we need more affordable housing. We keep dropping the units of affordable housing, and it makes it, when you drop that, it makes the price of everything go up. Right. So we're seeing more women in our interim housing program. We cannot find them apartments.
Right. Yeah. It's nobody chooses to be homeless is something that, I've heard in the past from some other organizations I've worked with, and that should set home with most people. Nobody's choosing to be that way.
And I say that to groups all the time. If you're, especially look at winter, and you might see a woman or man sleeping under a viaduct when it's bitter cold. They might have good reasons for being there, but really, if you step back, nobody is choosing to sleep on concrete in the middle of the night.
Right.
And I think too, and others, one more thing about what would I wish for if I could, say, okay, let's change everything, is to look at the zoning and of how we do with affordable housing and special use permits required for interim housing type programs. And that's a very arduous process. And that's, if we can streamline that and make that a little bit more equitable, so we're putting programs all over the city, I think that will help quite a bit.
Yeah, and you had mentioned that your newest building that's breaking ground here in June, you had a great TIF that came in and $14 million of donations, but not everybody's going to be able to get that sort of support. You have an incredible team. It would be very, very nice to see the city of Chicago ease that process up so people don't have to rely on such a large donation or such a robust team like you guys now have to be able to do that.
Yes, it would be more resource for affordable housing, and saying that this is the second time we've worked with the Department of Planning at the city, and they've been great to work with, but they are juggling very scarce resources.
Right. Yeah. They're. I'm glad. It's great to hear from you that they've been great to work with, and that they've been, especially your alderman, has been very welcoming of this in Uptown, and it's definitely a need up there too.
Oh, we have a huge need. Yeah, we have been very fortunate. We have been able to pull in the support, and like we were talking about before, we're looking at that third building. So we want to keep the support coming.
Yeah, that'd be great. Are you going to try to do a third building as soon as possible? Wait until this one's done?
You know, the conversation last night was bandwidth because we're set to break ground here in June on the second one, and the board is saying, okay, let's look at this third one. So I think, you know, we've got an idea of what the size, the location, the type of building. So I think we could probably maybe look at, if we could find the property, secure the property by the end of this year would be great.
Awesome. Well, anybody who's listening, and I see a couple tuning in that are real estate agents, developers, if you guys know of anything in that area, please
sure.
reach out.
So our ideal building is about a 25 units, studios, probably a corridor style building.
Okay.
Has to have an elevator.
Okay,
We have an
sure.
aging population,
Sure.
and preferably in the north side. And we can do purchase it and then do a rehab and make it accessible for the women, and then lease it up.
Fantastic. Well, I hope it happens quick. It sounds like there's a lot of momentum, and momentum's always a good thing. And when is it set to be finished, the 50? And I know construction can be
So, well,
lengthy.
Skender, they're a great
They are
construction.
good.
Oh my gosh, they are on top of things. They're saying 14 months. So, if we start construction around the end of June, mid to end of June, we're looking at September of 2020.
fantastic. So next late summer, early fall, you guys will have the new building.
Yeah, so we hope to have a groundbreaking here in July, and then a ribbon cutting fall of 2020.
Very cool. Well, will the groundbreaking be something that you guys are going to have an event for?
Oh yeah.
So just
it'll
follow
be
the
on-
website.
So it'll be on the website. We're going to wait till because we have to raise the building that's there.
Sure.
We're going to raise that building, and there's a time frame when we can, after it's been raised and they level it, we can put a tent up and have our groundbreaking.
Fantastic. And so obviously with a new building of this size, you guys are going to be looking for more staff as well.
We have, we'll need to staff up, and the agency has continued to staff up as we increase the number of women that we have in our own housing or increase programming in the daytime program.
Great. So are you locally from Chicago originally?
I am from Park Ridge.
Okay, awesome. And now you're in the North Shore
I'm
like
in
me?
Northfield.
Very, very cool. And where's your office now? So if somebody needs
4838 North Sheridan.
Okay, so you do the commute every day.
It's a very easy commute, just straight down Sheridan Road. I love it.
That's right. You use Sheridan because you can just take Willow to.
Yeah, I'm there in like a minute. And
Oh, that's
then, so it's in Uptown, that's our main admin offices, 4838 North Sheridan.
Oh, that's great. And if somebody wants to get a hold of you to be a part of the organization, outside of donating, part of the board, are there applications people can fill out online, or should they reach out to you, or is there a
Couple
good process?
things. There is, right on the website, there's the volunteer application, and we've got a very good system for volunteer coordination, so they can fill that up. The volunteer coordinator will get back to them right away. And if it's something else that they want to do, maybe not just the run-of-the-mill volunteer, they can always just give me a call. My number is right there on the website, or send me an email.
Okay. Any big area of need where, a company like us, and, we're going to chat with our second guest in a second as well, anybody who is listening could get involved with at like a company level, or their drives? You had mentioned drives.
Yeah.
Is there anything that's a big necessity for you guys?
Well, drives are always good. And right now, one of our goals for next year is to reach out to some more corporations in the city of Chicago and do lunch and learns.
Okay.
So if somebody has an opportunity, when their company, that they do lunch and learns where you bring speakers in and learn about a different topic, we would love to participate. We can come in and talk about the issues of women's homelessness, some of the stats. Every night there are over 2,000 women who are homeless.
Wow.
And just understanding the complexity of that. These women are going to be, asking some basic questions. Where am I going to sleep? How am I going to stay safe? Where am I going to go to the bathroom? Things that we take for granted. So we can, talk a little bit about the realities of women's homelessness and what we're doing to end this.
Well, I appreciate all of your efforts, all of everything you guys do. We had spoke off air, and being a part of the Chicago Association of Realtors, I had been a part of a couple different homeless charities and initiatives to try to help different homeless charities. And I think that the lunch and learns and just being able to get the word and the education out to the average public would really go a long way to get people and the city to understand things like affordable housing and the actual need that people have, because just the shelters, the emergency shelters, are not enough. When we spoke off air, and it's something I think people need to understand, that's not enough to really help.
No, that's a Band-Aid at best.
At best.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well-
Kathy, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Women that are in need of shelter, that are out on the streets, I'm sure you ask, how do they hear about you?
You know, that's a great question. We've been around for 40 years, so we have very solid relationships with the city, the police department, with the hospital, with with Cook County Jail, and so women are referred to us from other agencies. So we are well known as the place to come, and women will refer women if they see somebody on the bus or riding the train. They'll refer them to Sarah Circle.
Interesting. Okay.
And
Thank you.
the faith-based communities. I mean, we're well known in this community.
Very good. Okay.
Another great reason where the education process of understanding who you are and getting to know where you guys are is really important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And anyone is welcome. The daytime program is open every day.
Very
9 to
nice.
5. They're welcome to come.
Wonderful.
Very nice. Okay.
Well, I'm going to shift gears, and we're going to come back to Dean Castle, right? I
That's
messed
it.
that up.
You said that correctly.
I said it right. He owns a place where I know a lot of my friends and listeners have actually frequented before, Juice RX, over in Lincoln Park, and they're going to be in Streeterville soon as well.
Bucktown.
And,
Bucktown.
Okay, it's Bucktown. Wait a second, is that It is Bucktown. I'm thinking my office, Lincoln
You're a
Park.
realtor. You should
I know,
know
I
this.
should know this. It's off the 1800 block of Damon. What's the exact address? So now that
1880 North Damon. But to be fair, we were in Lincoln Park once upon a time.
Okay.
No longer.
Don't let him off the hook.
1880 North Damon. And he also owns the Chicago Kale Chip Company, which I'm super excited to chat about as well, because there's some samples in studio now. Dean, thank you for coming on. Tell us a little bit about what Juice RX does, what the Chicago Kale Chip Company is, and how you got into it all.
Yeah. So about 8 years ago, I had an experience with an episode with my health. It was sort of an ongoing thing over a few year span since graduating school. I came out of University of Illinois, a good degree, and I was working in the hustle and bustle, working for Sears Corporation at the time, and just going, and I ended up developing or really being diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. So that's a friend of any of our listeners that know or you guys know, it's an autoimmune disorder that affects your colon. And it's something that's chronic and it's ongoing, and it's not something that you take a pill for and it just disappears. I mean, it's something that's a lifelong thing. And the best solution that they have out there, in terms of Western medicine, is just you take a lifelong regimen of pills. And so I've always been a bit of a curious soul and somebody who's doesn't stop at no. And so when my doctor at the time, my gastroenterologist, said, "Hey, this is you're going to be on the most commonly prescribed medication, mesalamine for colitis," and I kind of took it at face value, and I was doing that for a year or so, and then I was having some breakdown of my liver, and so I went in for a routine blood test, and the doctor said, "Oh, your ASTs and your ALTs are way elevated. We got to get these things down. This is probably from the mesalamine that you're taking. So let's, get off of that for a couple weeks and we'll see how that goes." And I said, "Well, that's how do we control the colitis then, right?" So it's like all these things are kind of out of whack. And so it was around that time when I started exploring some alternatives and realized, there's a point where that sort of reared its ugly head, right? I was fine before that day I was diagnosed, right? So there came a point where I wasn't fine, and I wanted to figure out, and I became really obsessed with the question, well, what caused this? What triggered this, right? And then the second part of that is, well, how do you get back, And so, I read started reading books and doing research, and really learned, what I thought was I was following a pretty strict diet. My friends would bust my chops and kind of, and even that wasn't good enough, So I really wasn't selecting the right foods to put in my body, and it wasn't until then I really got on a healing diet and followed really like a healing protocol that was 100% diet based. That really, I really began to see results. And around the same time, I also completely discontinued the medication for fear that my liver was,
Going the wrong way.
Yeah. And so, I was drinking, I was incorporating a lot of raw juice into my diet. I was eating, just a lot of fruits and vegetables and things that were alive, and really kind of laid off the dairy at the time. I was drinking a lot of pasteurized dairy and cheese from from stores. And I later on was adding, raw dairy and grass-fed stuff that was a lot better. And I still didn't have any issue with that, but it was really the stuff from, the highly processed foods and, that were really seemingly causing the issues. So once I got past that, I really freed myself of this health concern.
That's wonderful. And just to be clear, you guys don't just do juice cleanses, because for a lot of people who hear Juice RX, it's not just juice stuff at Juice RX.
Correct.
What else do you guys have there?
Yeah, so we do cold pressed organic juices. We do smoothies. We do acai bowls. We do like these raw vegan treats as well. People know us for those, these puddings and just a lot of different things. But it's all, what I tell people too is, the 4 ingredient categories that we use are fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. That's really all we offer.
And your stuff is delicious. Every time I always do a 3-day cleanse. Anytime I do a cleanse, I've tried 5 days with stuff before, and I can't do it. I go nuts after 3. I just lose my mind. But what always holds me up is the green juices. Like I just don't love them. And your green juices are good. They're tasty green juices.
Thank you.
Everything else is tasty too, but the green juices are great. And I always feel better. And setting aside the tasty, I always feel better, and I'm not going to knock one of your competitors, and I've used their cleanse before, but I feel great throughout it. Day 2 typically for me is like a really bad headache day every time I've done a cleanse, and it's not terrible with you guys. Like I done some other cleanses where by day 2 I'm like, I just don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to just skip day 3 completely. And your cleanses always end up getting me through the 3 days.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I'm happy to hear that. And we've heard that too. That's sort of the feedback we get from our customers is that, they a lot of times they'll feel lethargic or they'll get irritable on certain juice cleanses, but with ours, there must be some kind of magic in there or something that
it tastes good and they don't make you too irritable, which is good. How often do you cleanse?
You know what? It's been about 6 months since I have.
Really?
So, So, I mean, I was pretty consistent for a while. So that's probably a good reminder that I need a Juice RX cleanse. Yeah.
How often so I do it either if I have a weight loss challenge or if I'm just changing my weight loss routine or if I just want to jumpstart something for myself fitness-wise. Do you get people that do it monthly? Some people do juice cleanses weekly. Like they'll do 1 or 2 days of cleansing and then they eat and then they cleanse each week. What do you see people do it consistently? And is there a recommendation for people for how often they should cleanse?
Yeah, that's a great question. And we get that a lot, because some people, they'll do a 3-day cleanse and say, hey, I feel fantastic. Can I do this again next week? What are the guidelines for that? I've got an interesting tidbit to share. My father did 167-day, or was it 169? One of the two, 167 or 169-day juice cleanse about 3 years ago. So, it started as a 7-day cleanse as a challenge, turned into a 30-day challenge, and then it turned into a 3-month challenge. He wanted to beat Joe Cross, the guy who did the documentary Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. He was the trucker, and I think he did 100 days. And so he set out and said, you know what, I'm gonna blow past Joe Cross, and I'm not gonna look back. And so, and he's a real, he when he wants something, he gets his way. So he did it, and he did 100. He ended up going 100 and like I said, 67 days, and he was going out to dinner with people and business meetings, and people would josh him and say, "Hey, you're not going to have any food. You're just going to drink juice." And he would proudly say, "No, I'm drinking my juice and I'm happy." And and I think for him what it was is that it was a regimen that was spelled out, right? So some people have difficulty with certain weight loss regimens because it's not clearly spelled out for them, or maybe it doesn't taste good, and there's something that they kind of talk themselves out of, or they just kind of fall off the boat for one of those reasons. So for him, he said, hey, I enjoy the juices. I feel filled up. I feel, there's no thinking to do. I know what I need to do when I wake up, and I know what I drink before I go to bed. And so he ended up losing over 100 pounds over about 170 days. So yeah, it was like 0.7 of a pound per day. And he said, where else can you do that? You can't do that on Weight Watchers. You can't do that on anything else. And he was going to, so kind of back to your question, he was visiting his primary care doctor every 3 months during the cleanse. And he gave him not only a clean bill of health, but he said, hey, because my father would ask, hey, am I missing anything, just by drinking these 6, and his doctor, look at the numbers and say, everything's looking fantastic. Your blood pressure's down, your, and just all these other metrics, were, I think he got off statins, at that time. And so, he was doing really, really well. And he
That's great.
So yeah, so when people ask, hey, is there anything else I need to supplement with this if I do this long term? And obviously we're not doctors, but we always tell people, yeah, I mean, it's been done, so.
What an incredible story, and what an incredible piece of support and research for you guys and what you guys are doing. Your dad doing it for that long.
Yeah, that's how it started, was with research. And then he later added some weight because he didn't realize that, the juices weren't going to keep him slim for life, right? I mean, you can't stay on a juice cleanse forever,
Sure.
right? So he later came back a couple years later and said, hey, well, you mind if I do another juice cleanse? He said, no, you got your one. That's it. Now you pay for it.
Yeah. Well, 167, he went a long way with that one.
Yeah, that's it. That's where he cut you off,
Seems like a competitive guy, too.
Very much. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And there's different types of cleanses, right? Because people think you can just, when you're getting a cleanse, you're just going to get the same type of cleanse for every different cleanse. That's not true. You can pick different types of cleanses, different day lengths, different flavors, different types of juices.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there's duration, so how long you want to go. And then, of course, the combination of juices that you choose to enjoy during the cleanse. That's certainly a factor, too. But, we offer 30 or 40-something different juices at any given time. So we always have something for somebody, whether you're wanting to do something with a little more variety of fruits and vegetables, or somebody that says, hey, look, I don't want any fruits in my cleanse. I want to do, I want to practice like a low sugar regimen and something that has a lot of leafy greens that might not taste so good to the average Joe, but to them that's how you do a juice cleanse. So
yeah, and I encourage people to try them out, because my ex-girlfriend used to go and buy them all the time and bring them over, and then I would taste some of hers. I'm like, wait, yours tastes better than mine. And then I would pick and choose which ones I liked, and then the next time I went in, you can just kind of pick and choose what you want instead of just ordering, kind of the set amount. Because you can order them online, correct?
Yep.
And they can be delivered as well, right?
We do. We ship nationally.
Okay.
As well as we deliver locally and within the Chicago region.
So if somebody goes online, they can just order it. And what's the wait time to get your juices?
So you can get our juices. So we deliver every Tuesday and Friday morning currently. And if you were to go on the website and place an order the night before, you're still eligible for delivery the following morning. So
awesome.
Yeah, somebody in California orders a cleanse at 5 o'clock on a Thursday evening, you can get it delivered by 10:30 the next morning. And that's even faster, I think, than Amazon can do it. Wow. And these are fresh, raw juices. We're not drawing on an inventory. I mean, we're making these, a couple times a week, and we're, so you're getting the freshest stuff.
Wow, that's really quick. I didn't realize it was that quick.
Yeah.
I'm going to start ordering from Northbrook then.
Yeah,
it's like Amazon Prime on steroids.
That's right. Now I realize why I don't sleep now. Maybe we need to close that part of the business.
So, and you're there all, because Juice RX is, it's expanding. You guys are going to Streeterville, and we'll talk about that in a second. But you off air said you still handle most of the orders. So you're very involved still on a day-to-day basis.
I am. Customer service is my favorite part of the job. Working with people, helping people, that's really my mission. So yeah, I still have customers, the last 7-8 years that still text me or send me an email and say, hey, I'd love to place an order for, so they know, I'm always open and always willing to help. So, and I think that's a hard thing to pass on.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where in Streeterville are you guys going?
Yeah, so we're going to be on Ontario, and it's just about Ontario and St. Clair, so just about a block off of east of Michigan Avenue. So, yeah, we'll be in the Northwestern Building. I think we can announce
Very
that.
cool. Yeah.
Nice.
So we'll be at 211 East Ontario. So I don't think we've announced that publicly yet, but
Look at that, John. We
Oh,
got a
breaking
public
news.
announcement, breaking news. Well, that's a great area, and I have a lot of buddies that live in Streeterville, and I think it's going to be awesome for people just walking by, being able to stop. And are you guys going to do the acai bowls and everything else that you do off Damon there as well?
and then some.
And then
Yeah.
some. Okay, very cool.
Yeah, so we'll be also offering a full coffee bar. We're going to be partnering, I think, with Intelligentsia,
Okay.
and we'll offer all their products, cold brew and lattes and all kind of the specialty beverages and just really, really cool stuff. But with the Juice RX, we'll offer oat milk and fresh pressed almond milk and all the good stuff that Juice RX is sort of known for. We're going to kind of meld those two businesses. So
What a cool concept. And I think you're in the right location. That area needs something like that.
absolutely,
Doesn't really have it.
yeah. So we think. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
think, yeah.
I mean, being a former resident, now I've been gone for almost 2 years now, so things have popped up. Although John and I, being here at WheelHouse,
Yeah.
not far from there, we travel back and forth and stop by and eat on Wednesdays. I don't think there's anything there like you guys, so I think you guys are going to do really well.
That's right. Thank you.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you. We're excited to be here.
And how? Let's talk about Chicago Kale Company real quick. How did that come about? Because that's newer than Juice RX, correct?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah. So we've officially adopted the name Chicago Kale Chip Company probably in the last year or so, that concept really started with the idea that there's not enough healthy snacks out there, and really just juice, just in food in general. So we used our juice bar, or my juice bar, as a fertile test ground to test all different types of products, right? New juices, new food. And so over the last several years, we've experimented with dehydrating kale and as a snack, because really some of the kale chips out there are just not, sure, they're nutritious and they're good for you, but they're not really that good. Most
They're not
people that
tasty.
eat them, most of these people are like hardcore, granola folks who are embracing kale chips, but really for the masses, it hasn't been embraced, I think, for those reasons, right? For taste. And I think you need to catch people with taste first. Then they go, okay, oh, this is good for me. Oh, great, But we were just experimenting with these different kale chip flavors the last few years at our juice shop, and really sort of refined and honed, really the right recipe, that's the right balance of nutrition and taste. And so we took on, like I said, we branded these kale chips because we felt like, hey, Juice RX is really, good at juice and food and stuff, but these kale chips really have legs to stand on their own, right? And we have 7 different flavors, and we said, we've got to give these things the sort of the recognition that it deserves. So, we figured it's born in Chicago Kale Chip Company, and
like
so
it.
we launched it officially about a year ago. Yeah,
You got some samples we can try?
we do.
I'm excited. And I think you're spot on with the taste has to make sense for anything to be consistent, I think, because if you're going to incorporate anything into your regimen and it tastes terrible, you're going to be able to do it for a short period of time, not a very long period of time. But if you can get the taste there first, then it's something people will incorporate all the time. John, I don't know if the camera's still on me. I'm going to show the packaging because I think the packaging is really cool too. Before I open this
Thank
up
you.
and start eating away at it. Yeah, it's
Yeah, you're good.
awesome. You see it?
Yep, absolutely. Hold it up a little bit higher. Let me zoom in. Give me one quick second.
Shameless plug. Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
no,
I
of
appreciate
course.
that.
Absolutely.
No, it's cool packaging, and I think this is the industry that needs cool packaging like that. So jalapeno lime, I like spicy, so I'm gonna try this guy out.
Yeah. You got
Yeah.
Is that jalapeno lime too?
Same one.
Oh,
Yeah.
Then I won't open this one.
Brought
Keep
2 of
this
them because
as-
we know you guys are gonna.
Oh, it's spicy.
The
Right.
first one's gonna go too quick.
Yeah.
That's
I wish we had a don't shut my mic off button.
Boom. Crunchy and delicious, I'm assuming.
It's really good.
Yeah. I'm going to.
It's
make
got a
my
little
way
kick to it,
over.
Are you
and I
not-
mean that.
Oh, you're not just saying that, Mo, huh?
I swear I'm not just saying that. That's really tasty.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean,
That's-
it doesn't even really taste like kale.
That's the thing, and that's, that's what we've been discussing here the last few months. People say this just doesn't taste like kale, and we started to realize, this is different, right? It's a kale chip. It's 100% kale. There's no, some of the chips out there, they call them quinoa crisps, but it's 80%. It'll be flour and then maybe 10% pea protein, then 10% quinoa. These are 100% kale with a cashew-based coating. So,
it doesn't taste like kale. I mean, in a good way, it doesn't taste like kale.
Right.
In a really good way. Can I try the sour cream and onion?
oh, sure.
That looks like it's going to be fun, too.
Yeah. And we have fresh red onion and shallots and chives. I mean, just stuff that is just make your mother proud, stuff right from the garden.
That's legitimately as good as a sour cream and onion chip that you would have, like, in a bag of chips.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually really like sour cream and onion chips.
Yeah, likewise. I grew up eating, the Lay's, and that was my thing. And so I set out, as stubborn as I am, just like my father, right? So I get it. And I was just stubborn. I said, there's got to be a way to really hit the palate the way you're supposed to, and really, light up your palate. But, something that's clean, clean, that's real food, it's connected, from our source.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump in because
It's so good.
Open the creamy dill. Wow.
Yeah,
Thank
is
you.
good.
Thank you, guys.
This is really, I haven't tried the others yet, but man.
You
oh,
got to
man.
try the sour cream and onion.
Thank you.
I'm trying to make my way over there.
We might not go to, John and I were going to go to dinner after this. We might
I know,
not
we'll just sit here.
eat a ton of kale.
And that's what happens. Most of our customers, they come into Juice RX, and you can of course get our Chicago Kale Chip Company chips at the store as well. But people will get them, and they'll leave the store, and they'll come back and say, "I finished the whole thing in the car. Like, what'd you just do?" And it's like, that's a whole head of kale.
Try this one. And I mean this for everybody watching. It's as good as having. If you open a bag of Lay's potato chips, that tastes just as good, yet it's healthy and not awful for you. It's really, really good.
Which one did you hand me?
Sour cream and onion.
All right.
And
How long did it take you to come up with these, the tastes and kind of the R&D of this? Because this could not have been easy to get what kale tastes like to what I just tasted.
Absolutely. Yeah. So like I said, I mean, we've been refining these recipes for 3 years now, So, I mean, we would produce these things, and we try them, and without giving away too much of our secret sauce and how we do it. I'm a finance guy by, like Kathy, and you're a finance person by trade, and I'm a finance person as well. So I figured out, I have no chef background. I know it tastes good, right? I know if I put something in my mouth, I'm gonna say, okay, this is good or not good. But I plugged a lot of this stuff into Excel. And you kind of fine tune every time we'd make a recipe, we'd fine tune and just move numbers around like you're moving the needle. And and these chips were maybe 6 months ago they were 90% as good as they are now. And people would try them and go, "These are perfect, Dean." I'd say, "No, that's not perfection. Let me show you perfection." And then they try them a week later and they go, "Whoa, this is even better." And I go, "I know." So I think we finally got them to a point now where I think I'm happy with them, which is the most important thing, and I think our customers are happy. But
I think all of the fitness, like I go to Lifetime Fitness now, mostly because they have a pool and I have to learn how to swim right. And they have all these like healthy bags of chips in front, and they're not all that healthy. And I've tried almost all of them because I'll get a bowl of some sort and have it, and I typically go there after work. None of them taste as good as this. They should look up getting Chicago Kale Chip Company kale chips at Lifetime Fitness.
Thank you.
NLA Fitness or whoever else does that, because their Life Cafe has all these like healthy, kind of wannabe healthy products, and none of them taste good. I've had them and I'm like, ugh, I'll just keep eating my bowl. This is really good stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, we're doing our best to push them out, and hopefully you see them in some local stores here real soon.
Very cool. So right now, how do we get a hold of these guys if we want to buy some?
So the best way, the most surefire way, is to either go to the website, and that's www.chicagokalechip.co.
Okay.
That's the website, and we ship nationally, door to door. And we also offer them at Juice RX, and we'll have them at the New Streeterville location as well. So
very cool.
Nice.
Can we get them
Very
pretty
good.
fast? like the juices?
Oh yeah, yeah. And I think we Grubhub too. If you're in Chicago, you can Grubhub this stuff too.
Wow.
Juice,
Awesome.
if you go on the Juice RX Grubhub page, so
Cool.
Oh, so you can Juice RX Grubhub the juices as well?
yeah. Oh yeah, the food, the juices, everything we've got on Grubhub, and we actually have our own app as well that we've developed. So if you can
for
go
you guys.
go into the App Store, I think it's Apple and Android, if not just Apple. But you can go into the Apple Store, type in Juice RX, and you'll see our app there as well.
Very cool. I guarantee these things are going to be all over.
Yep.
I mean, they're so
They
so
are.
so
They
damn
are
good.
legit good.
And I really do think what you were saying about it has to taste good first is such a big thing. I mean, I've tried so many weird diets throughout the time that I was a personal trainer in college, and then since then. And if it doesn't taste good, I can't do it for more than a week or two. And if it's not something that I can see myself incorporating long term, now older me just won't even touch it. So if I try something, I'm like, if I can't do this consistently 30, 60, 90 days or forever, I'm just never going to do it again. And it was the same thing for the juice cleanses for me. I got to a point where I said, I'm miserable day 2, and if I'm miserable and I can't work out and I can't feel good, I can't function at work, I'm just going to stop doing these things. And that's why Juice RX is something that now I look to use. I actually think I used it right before you and I did our challenge.
You did. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not something I'm able to do. And actually, that leads a question, if you don't mind. When it comes to doing a cleanse, is it all right if I do it like 2 out of the 3 a day and have just some chicken or carrots? I need something, or else I'm just not somebody you want to be around. Not that you want to, anyhow, but
You get the classic hangry symptoms, right?
very bad, yeah.
Yeah.
And nobody likes that.
No. So if you skip any juices, it'll be a total fail. Total fail.
Shut it.
No. You know, there's people ask. They say, hey, well, if I have a piece of fruit on the cleanse, is that going to throw things? And I say, well, you're getting roughly 7 to 10 servings of fresh organic fruits and vegetables, right, in every bottle, right? So in any given cleanse, if you're doing 5 juices and a nut milk, you get those 5 juices, you got 7 to 10 servings of fresh fruits and vegetables. If you eat something outside of, that's the real benefit. You're getting a whole, a number of servings of fresh produce in a bottle, right? Mm-hmm. Real produce that's recognizable to the body. It hasn't been pasteurized or processed in any way. It's recognizable to the body, right? It's bioavailable, I think, as they say. As long as you're drinking fresh pressed juice and then you're not eating, going to a Chinese buffet or doing something like that. Yeah, right. But even if you did, right? Even if you sat down and had a burrito with it, you're still getting 9. You have a bottle of juice, it's 9 servings of fresh fruits and vegetables. So,
right.
There's really not a bad way to use it. The idea of the cleanse is, I know there's some misconceptions surrounding this. And, so when you have the 6 bottles a day, when you don't eat food and you're just drinking the liquid nutrition, your body doesn't have to put any work into digesting the food, right? So even if you're eating something healthy, you're eating an apple, your body goes, oh, there's so much good stuff in this apple. It wants to really just kind of rip the apple apart, so to speak, and get the nutrition out. And the rest of the stuff is just rubbish, right? It just wants to move it along. And that's really what it, So when you drink juice, it's something that's pre-digested because there's nothing for it to do. It's already in the liquid, and you're getting all that benefit. So if you eat something with it, you're sort of breaking the fast. The fast that that your digestive system is enjoying, but you don't lose on the benefit of you still get all that nutrition. Okay. So yeah, is it better to maybe not eat food? Ideally, but if you eat something here and there, add some food, you're still getting a benefit. But
you know what was, and I think this might be what's bugging you too, John. And I had a friend of mine who just did. Sean and John were losing some weight, and they did a juice cleanse. It was their first one, and I think their difficulty was we're used to chewing something throughout the day. Mm-hmm. The idea for 3 days not chewing on anything, I think throws people for a loop, and it did for me at the beginning. So I chewed a lot of gum. I do in general, but if I could chew something, or if I just ended up having a handful of raspberries or something, where I said, okay, it's also still fruit, that helped a lot because I was able to chew and swallow something instead of just taking liquid. Because that's what at the beginning would throw me for a huge loop was, this is day 2. I haven't really eaten anything. I know I'm getting all the nutrition, but that whole not eating thing
Right.
would mess with my head.
Gotcha.
And they actually said the same thing. I think it was Sean that said, he's like, it's weird to me not to eat all day. It's a weird feeling. Your body's just not used to it.
Right.
We have a question for you. It said, I'm late on this, so I may have missed this. Is there any hemp product in the juices? And that's from Maggie, John's better half.
So I think that a few of the smoothies that we have at the store, we have hemp seeds in there. So we do have hemp, but I don't think there's any hemp in any of our nut milks or juices.
Okay, very cool.
But we are launching some CBD products because, well, if you're not, then you're on the outside, right?
Yeah.
I think everybody's doing it these days. So we're going to be offering a cold brew soon with that's CBD infused. So look for that soon as well. That's
Nice.
Very cool.
interesting thing.
Okay.
You sound like a very, very busy guy. When you're not working morning to night and then morning to night again, what do you do? What's free time? Obviously, stay fit.
Yeah, I try. With the limited amount of time I have, I don't have time to, or I choose to. I can't say I don't have time because we all have time. I caught myself there. But instead of going into the gym, I like to just get down on the floor. I'll just get down and do push-ups, and every 10, 20 minutes I get up and I just try to do something crazy, just get the blood moving, and I find that's more exhilarating and more beneficial to my health than spending 1 hour at the gym and coming home and sort of disconnecting again from physical activity.
Very cool.
So yeah,
A lot of jumping jacks at Juice RX.
that's right.
Midday jumping jacks.
People probably saw what I did. They probably think I was just off my rocker, which I am, but you don't want to show too much of that.
That's awesome. And I'm going to ask you guys both the same question. It doesn't have to be for entrepreneurs. It can be. We always on the show ask. And I'll stay with you, Dean. Any advice for somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur, maybe get into the juice business? Obviously a little bit of a niche. Definitely don't even try to compete with this guy in the Chicago Kale chip business, because you guys are never going to be able to taste like that. Any advice for entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I think following your passion and is key. I mean, it's kind of espoused in our society. Follow your passion, but sometimes that's not always apparent. That's not always clear. And it wasn't clear to me until somebody said, "Hey, you love helping people and you've had great experience with juice. Maybe there's a business in this, right?" And so trying to figure out how to monetize it. Well, how do you help people? And how can you be rewarded for it at the same time? Really, they kind of go hand in hand, right? When you help people, then you're rewarded for it, right?
Awesome.
So yeah, that's a big thing. And there's a lot of stuff I do that isn't my passion, right? I'm doing emails and I'm ordering things from vendors and working with a legal team, whatever it is. So there's a lot of things that I do that I don't particularly enjoy, but I enjoy the process, and really I try to step back and see the bigger picture of this is where I was, and this is where I'm now, and this is where we're going. And it's not going to be easy straight, right? Because if it were easy, everybody would be doing it, right? So keeping that in mind, that it's not always going to be easy, and really following your heart.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Maggie followed up with I can get randomly drug tested at work, so need to be hemp free. I don't think the hemp seeds will trigger the drug test.
I don't think so. Yeah, unless it's the other stuff.
Yeah.
But that stuff could trip you up, but not the hemp seeds.
No, it'd be you would have a lot of people who probably buy from you guys who would have already tested positive.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, definitely CBD. I don't think they test for CBD, and I think they're tested for the presence of THC, right?
I think so.
Test.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't test myself at work.
Yeah.
Kathy, to you as well. And actually, I think some people were watching on a little bit of a delay because you have some shout outs here. Deborah Williams said, awesome. Kate Hassett, who was on the show, said, what a super important mission. I used to be involved with a battered women's shelter in Georgia, and it was amazing the stories we heard. And then you had Mary O'Neill Nicastro say, way to go, Sarah Circle. Let's end homelessness for Chicago's women. So you have some fans and some shout outs. Any advice for, it can be somebody who is trying to work on ending homelessness. It can be somebody who is looking to be an entrepreneur, or who's getting into charity work, because that is not an easy field to be in full time. So any advice at all for anybody listening?
A couple things. One, be perseverant. Just keep at it. It's usually not easy. There's a lot of roadblocks. You know, we talked a little bit about the funding issues, the zoning, but just be perseverant. Don't collaborate. Bring in more people to help you. Bring in other partners that might have an expertise that you don't. So always reach out and try to bring in your community of support, and then keep the goal in mind. And it's for Sarah Circle, when you've housed a woman, when we've given an apartment key to somebody who's been homeless for decades, I can't describe that feeling. And it's kind of like, okay, keep that in mind and just keep at it.
I imagine that goal that you guys have is immediately apparent every time you help somebody. I mean, it almost is always right in the forefront of your minds.
It is. If you can't imagine if a woman's been homeless for years, and then she walks into a brand new 320 square foot studio and it's hers. She's got a key, it's fully furnished, and it's hers. She's safe. She has an address, a place to call home, a place to cook. And you just keep that in mind, and that keeps you going.
That's incredible. And for a lot of them, getting out of a very difficult, violent situation to a life of not having to deal with very violent situations. And you're very busy as well. I mean, I cannot imagine the nuances and the dotting the I's, crossing the T's that you have to do from morning to night every single day when you're not working at Sarah Circle. What do you do in your free time?
Oh, I love to garden.
Okay.
I love to garden, and that's what I do a lot of that. I plan, like, the perennials I'm going to have, keeping the beds nice and neat. I love to go out to eat with my friends, and then love to spend time with our beagle, whose name is Maggie.
Oh, look at that.
But I enjoy my gardening and my friends.
Well, you've got a lot of rain recently, and I went with my
it's
dad.
so lush. It's everything's so nice.
It's so nice, isn't it?
It's lovely, yeah.
This Sunday, I went with my dad to he's got a tiny little garden that he keeps on his balcony because he loves gardening, but he's in a condo now. And so I was walking around the garden shop. It was near Wilmette. He lives in Wilmette, so we went out there. And you know what I realized was how many different types, and this is the first thing that popped into my mind because he wanted tomatoes. There's like 1 million types of tomatoes. There was literally from floor to way taller than me, which isn't that tall, of different types of tomatoes you could have and plant. And I never
there's
knew
the
that.
variety of yes, perennials, vegetables, flowers is unbelievable. And the cultivars keep, growing every year, new hybrids. So it's fun.
Awesome. So you probably have an incredible garden on the North Shore.
I like it.
It's
my place of peace.
So you definitely don't hate the rain as much as some of the rest of the people do.
Nope. It's making everything look great, and
That's awesome.
I don't grow kale, but I imagine you've got good kale here.
Yeah, I think you can skip growing kale and just buy from these guys because it tastes so good.
Really good.
I can't imagine what kale grown, just regular kale, tastes like. Just putting kale in your mouth from the garden.
Beware.
Yeah.
Beware.
Well, if you saute it with a little olive oil and then some red pepper flakes and then squeeze a little lemon at the end, it's okay. It's good.
Different story. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you add some sour cream and onion to it.
Yeah,
Whatever else
that's
you've
a
done.
chip. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is incredible. I mean, I would chew more of it. It's just we don't have like in a radio studio, you have a button that says the cough button, so it shuts your mic down. I don't have that. I was just kind of stepping away from it and chewing. John was looking at me like, I think we're getting some feedback in the mic, but when we go off air, I'm going to eat a whole lot of it.
I concur.
Well, thanks, John. You actually wrote me a note. There is a discount for Juice RX to the end of June for Wheelhouse listeners.
For Wheelhouse listeners, yeah.
Yep. Wheelhouse 15.
Wheelhouse 15, that's right.
There you go. Put in Wheelhouse 15 and you get how much off?
15% off your order.
15% off your order. So go order some Juice RX juices. Order some Chicago kale chips in general, because I promise you, if you're having, like, Smart Pop is something that I buy, and it's not Smart Pop when I have the whole bag.
Right.
So it's not smart for me anymore. But this is a perfect replacement for people who are just having chips or Smart Pop or anything, because A, it tastes better, and B, it's better for you.
Yep. That is going to take up residence in our cabinets at
Mine
home.
too.
Yeah, that
Mine
is
too.
good stuff.
And how many flavors do you guys have?
We've got 7 now. We're starting to do. We've got an onion ring now too. We're doing
Okay.
sweet Vidalia onions, and we do the same coating that we've got on our sour cream and onion. Kale chip, we do that on sweet Vidalia onions, and it's just awesome.
Amazing.
Oh, just awesome.
I think, John, what we got to do is we got to order a bunch to the studio because you and I sit in here a lot.
Yep.
Try a bunch of them, take our favorites, and then order our favorites to our home. But so far, all 3 have been amazing.
I
Thank you.
absolutely concur.
Delicious.
Thank you both for coming on. That was a lot of fun. And obviously, Kathy, I cannot wait to see what Sarah Circle does with this new building. Hopefully, your next building after that comes soon thereafter. And I hope more than anything, this mayor does a good job of trying to help you guys get to your goal of ending homelessness even faster than before.
Thank you. That's our goal.
You guys are doing some incredible stuff, and it's a need that Chicago just is in dire need of. So thank you so much. And Dean, thanks for coming on. I'm glad I get to meet the man behind some of the juices I've had, and now the Chicago Kale Chip Company. By the way, that's a tongue twister if you try to say that a bunch of times really fast. And I'm excited for you guys to open up your spot in Streeterville. When's the kind of time frame for that? I don't think we checked.
Aiming for July.
Okay.
You know, but when you know,
Fast.
Yeah, it'll probably end up being like 2021. That's how it always works. But you know, we're aiming for a couple months from now. So
Call Kathy's team because they're doing stuff real fast.
Yeah,
and say,
no
hey, how'd you guys
kidding.
open so fast?
no kidding.
But yeah, excited to come and stop by the new location. And maybe when I get back from this triathlon, I'll need another juice diet because although I've been doing a lot of working out, I've been eating whatever I really want just because I've been doing so much cardio.
We'll be here for you.
Yeah, if I make it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for coming on. John, what do we got for next week?
Oh, next week, awesome. Another awesome show. We actually have our neighbors in the building, Mladen and Carolina Stojanovic.
You
I
probably
hope I said
butchered
that right. We'll find out next week. They are the owners. They're a husband and wife team, and they're the owners of the Freeze and Float Spa. So it's cryo, but it's also the deprivation float tanks. They're coming in. I took a tour, and I actually
Without me?
Without you? You're always too busy. I took a tour, and I've got a float scheduled for Tuesday, so the day before the show. I've never done it, and I'm really looking forward to it. But they're super nice people, funny and hardworking, and just it's really cool. Also, we got a full studio. We're going to have Jennifer Garrett. She is a published author and a huge football fan. The book that she has out on the market, I have a copy of. I don't have it with me, but it's called Push the Ball Down the Field. And what she does is she uses football strategies and incorporates it into business applications. It's really interesting. And she, brilliant and fun and energetic. So we have a great show for
Awesome.
next week. Yeah.
And I'm
yeah.
getting on a plane that Thursday, so another book I can steal from you to read.
Absolutely. Well, I've already got mine. I've learned.
Yeah,
I
I'm
already
going to
have
take your
mine,
book
but
and
yeah.
read yours. I want to come float on Tuesday.
Well,
What time are you going?
1 o'clock.
I'll be in the office by then.
Aw,
I'll go
that's a
before
shame.
you.
Oh, no.
I'm going to have to schedule this out. I've heard that's a really cool thing to do, and I heard that the health benefits of both are
Yes,
are very,
absolutely.
very, very strong.
Absolutely. So,
Excited for that.
yeah, we've got another great show. Thank you to both of you. Great stories. And really just, I don't want to say entertaining because it was some serious stuff, but you're really, the work you're doing and the way you tell the story and your products, I mean, we're really lucky to have you two come in and give us your time, and I appreciate it.
Awesome.
We
Thank you.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
we appreciate
Thank you.
it.
It's been
It's
an
our
honor.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Great.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll see you guys next Wednesday at 3 o'clock.
Absolutely. In 3, 2,